Hello, and welcome to the second part of me playing Vratislav Premslid, Duke of Bohemia in 1066 on the hardest possible settings for CK3. What we did in the first episode is I talked a bit about what those settings were. We went to our liege's coronation, had our own coronation. For this episode, what I'd like to do is really focus on being able to build buildings in our domain to set our successors up for success and being able to generate enough gold to maintain a large army, go to activities, and do everything else that they will need to become more powerful in CK3 and eventually become emperors and be able to take on scourge conquerors. And we are playing with frequent scourge conquerors. That is one of the main sources of difficulty in this game. In terms of Scourge Conquerors, the biggest concern that we have is this Duke here, the Duke of Valedia. He's obviously very close to us, right on the doorstep of the HRE. He is very powerful, already an exalted warlord. He's only 35 years old. Scourge-of-the-gods gives a quote-unquote godlike health boost. So this guy, even with the new elder traits, could easily live to be 85. He's really going to be a problem for us and for everyone else in the HRE for a long time. We're going to have to see sort of what he does and react to it. It could be that we try to declare independence from the HRE and then either become his tributary or his vassal. Wouldn't be terribly surprising if that's the route that we're more or less forced to take. One the concerns are, as you can see, that he is of a completely different faith. That we're Catholic while he's of an unreformed Slavic faith. But we just have to see how it goes. Sometimes you see these scourge conquerors, stay as hostile faiths. Baltic or Slavic faiths. They conquer a whole bunch of Christian territories. France, Holy Roman Empire, Poland, Hungary, and so forth, and then they themselves become Catholic. So that could be what happens with him. You might also notice that Wales has absorbed England. Reason for that is that Wales also had a scourge conqueror spawn there. You can see he is considerably older. It'll be interesting to see what he does. Often the scourge conquerors that spawn on the British Isles seem to want to conquer the British Isles, form the Empire of Britannia first before they go on to attacking France or whoever else, and then potentially coming over to attack the HRE. Of course, not sure the HRE will much exist once this Duke and Valedia up here gets done with it. As for us, again, we're gonna start the game here, and really our goal is just to build buildings while these conquerors and other people fight it out. And we're basically going to sort of sway with the winds. Whoever is more powerful, we're going to either become their tributary, become their vassal, and just try to keep a low profile and avoid having someone attack us and cause us to lose all our territories. So here, we really don't want to lose any gold, so we'll just take this first option. Again, we want to save our gold for buildings. One thing we do want to do is make sure once we complete our oath for shaping the realm, each building where a building was constructed gets a bonus of 50 development there. So what you see is we really want to build a building in each of our 6 holdings. We've already caught the second, third, and fourth holdings on this list, so we want to look at this holding, and then we'll probably get Pilsen the next time we have enough gold, and then think about going back up to Prague. For Prague, we may end up replacing one of its existing buildings. For Pilsen, what we probably want to build next is the windmills, definitely. And so I say definitely the windmills. So let's talk about that for a little bit in terms of what I'm building. The general theme here is we want to build buildings that give us as much gold as possible. For windmills, they're very expensive, but they do give a lot of gold. They give holding taxes. You can see they give lots of development growth. So there's great buildings, particularly since we only have 3 slots currently. Talked about that in the first video, that we'd like to get more building slots, and we focused on a cultural innovation magistrates that will give us an additional building slot. It's going to be quite a while before we get that. So we really want to make each building slot have the maximum impact, particularly maximum impact generating gold. And the easiest way to do that is with windmills and water wheels where they're available. And then after that, mansions, and after that, farms and fields. But here for Pilsen, we'll wait a few more months till we get this 164 gold here. At that point, we'll build the windmill there. Okay, we have the gold. Bring it back up. And then we'll also want to build something in Prague. Okay. So this guy, as you may remember from last episode, this guy came to our coronation, denounced us, became our rival, and now he wants an alliance. Okay. One could say that's an interesting choice by the game, or maybe you could say that's something that would happen in real life. That even if people were rivals, they would say, "Hey, we'll set aside our rivalry. We think having an alliance, defend each other is more important." I already have a couple of alliances. I guess we might as well get this one. It will, in case anyone does attack us, it'll give us, I guess now 3, fairly decent allies we can call on. So, that's helpful. Just saw the Pechenegs had attacked Hungary. Hungary had won. We'll just zoom out a little bit here, look around as we wait for our money to build up. Think about what we want to build in Prague. There we can see Wales just conquered Scotland. So as predicted, this great conqueror is focusing on conquering enough land to form the Empire of Britannia. So here, you might as well just grab the 35 prestige. We give him a nickname. I tend to think that's a sort of bad nickname. Rather have something else. Don't really want to form a rival with our kids. We'll just get the prestige. Somewhat interestingly, my second game after this one, I was thinking about doing a custom character in China in Song in 1066. But one of the issues with that is playing in China normally is not that different than playing in China on these hardest possible settings. The reason for that is that great conquerors generally don't attack a unified China. But what's interesting here is what we've seen is that Great Liao does seem to have taken out a big chunk of China. And so I was a bit concerned about having that as my second playthrough just because it's not that different. But given what Great Liao is doing, maybe there will still be some differences between these hardest difficulty settings and normal settings, even playing in China. So we have this event, we can try and negotiate a great deal. If we get it, great. If we don't, then we're just going to turn them down because we don't want to spend any gold on this. So again, no real reason to spend gold. I mean, there's some reduction in cost we could get, but I just, for 20 years, I guess maybe I've talked myself into going ahead and having an agreement with them. So, I mean, the cost reduction is significant. We're really going to be focusing on building, so hopefully we can make the amount of gold we just had to pay, unfortunately, worth it. Okay, we can see the Scourge conquering Valedia has just taken over Poland. One thing about Scourge conquerors, they often just they have a kingdom level casus belli or CB that they use to take over and attack their neighboring rulers, and they really just spam that. You know, they win against one ruler, then they immediately go to the next one. Uh, he is actually defending somewhat oddly and surprisingly. Someone, I guess, attacked him. This little duchy here, that seems like a bad idea. But I think as soon as he finishes up that war, we'll see him attack again. And he has enough, yeah, a lot more troops than Kaiser Heinrich. So I would not be surprised at all if what we see is him attacking the Kingdom of Germany. Because again, Scourge Conquerors just love Germany. So here we are going to wait until we have enough money to build in Prague. What we are almost certainly going to do is replace that hillside field with a water wheel if we can, and yes, we can. So we need 174 gold, so we're building up to that. You know, after that, we'll have built at least one building in each of our 6 domain counties. We'll build 2 buildings somewhere else, and then finish up our oath. Okay, great. So extort subjects is back. I'm going to extort them, get more gold. So here again, you know, we're certainly not doing the third where we don't get anything. We're either going to do the first one where we get, you know, a decent amount of gold and just annoy one person, or we get, you know, significantly more gold, lose some legitimacy, and also have all our vassals lose 10 opinion of us. I think more gold is better, given that we really don't have many vassals, and we also are, you know, we are allied to some of them, like our brothers. So, you know, we'll go with the more gold. Because again, we really want to build as many buildings as we can during Vraslav Premsla's lifetime, since he is just a great building character. And here we will be building the water wheels in Prague. We will build a few other buildings, upgrade the windmills here. I think, yeah, we probably could have waited on the, let's see. I guess actually, let's get our money back for this. The reason I'm doing this is we want to build exactly 8 buildings, fulfill our oath, then we get another discount from the oath to build additional buildings. And we really want to save the most expensive buildings for once we've completed our oath and have the additional cost reduction. So let's build the logging camps in here, which are significantly cheaper. And yes, I think we should have 5 buildings built currently. Yes, and so we're currently building 3. So now we're just going to wait until those 3 are completed before we build anything else. Fulfill our oath, get that bonus, and move on from there. And I see the, okay, so we see the Scourge Conqueror from Wales has formed Britannia, and that the Scourge Conqueror from Valedia, you know, decided to have Poland be his main title. Here is our daughter, who is betrothed to this intelligent guy. Try to get some intelligence trait in our bloodline. So have them marry. So what we probably should have done earlier is just check to see if for our male children, if there are any I was gonna say if there are any young women who have the intelligence trait or other good traits, but there really are not. Very few women available with any sort of inhalable traits, and really no good ones. So I guess let's wait a little bit. Maybe someone will come up for our sons, but no reason to get them betrothed now. So this is our son who is in learning lifestyle. I think just is probably the best decision there. Greedy creates obviously to change it, we would have to take a lot of stress, which isn't good. You know, greedy often on itself, it's good because about the income, but it usually causes a lot of stress, has a big negative opinion for courtly vassals. You know, callous, you know, same thing, has a negative vassal opinion, decrease in diplomacy, increase in intrigue. We're probably not using intrigue, so we'll just have them be just. potentially some event in our court. So more people asking for money. I guess we'll give her the funds. Hopefully it will result in some 4-star educations for our children. So getting feral for troops, on its own, not very useful, but we need it as a prerequisite to get the bottom 2 perks, which are very powerful for what we're doing. I've got some gifts from our brother, which includes getting some renown, which is all very helpful. Looks like Poland has decided to attack Hungary first, presumably before coming after the Holy Roman Empire. That's fine. We have another son. What's interesting is when you look at our children, we don't have any son who is focused on stewardship and really didn't have the opportunity to do that. You know, our oldest son is charming, which means either intrigue or diplomacy, and he's already has an intrigue focus when you start the game. Then our other sons, these two were both rowdy, which means either intrigue or martial, so made the martial. This guy has curious, which is either diplomacy or learning, so I make him learning. But we didn't have either the bossy trait, or I'm blanking on the other trait that gives bonuses to stewardship. But so it'd be interesting to see if this youngest child, who is named after us, will get the childhood trait that allows us to get stewardship with him. Because I don't think that's necessarily a bad choice. We're probably not going to be able to build all the buildings we want during Vratislav Premsla's lifetime. And especially, what we want to do is, there are a lot of empty baronies in places like Pilsen and Duddleby, or however that's pronounced. And those are quite expensive to build. We want someone who is an architect to build them. Don't know that Vratislav will be around long enough to do that. So if he had a stewardship son become his heir who could do that, that would be ideal. But we do need to live long enough for this child to become 16. So we're looking at 16 years. Vratislav will be 56. It's not a guarantee, especially with the elder traits now. So here's the Shape the Realm decision that we're going to take. The big benefit there is the Shape the Realm modifier. Big reduction in the time and cost of holding instructions, and as well as development growth. So all very good. Now we will resume building wherever we can. We can start upgrading some of our windmills, even though they're quite expensive. They produce a lot of gold and development growth, which is good. One thing I just realized that I certainly should have done much earlier is to have my steward working on development growth of my capital. That was an unfortunate oversight, but again, I said earlier, I'm almost certain to make some mistakes, and that's clearly one of them, and we'll just move on from here. Our tutor, you're doing a good job of tutoring our children. Let's actually confirm that. She's excellent. Our wet nurse is only average, but it's okay. We still have all the slots filled to try to prevent any of our rivals from killing us, including our brother and archbishop, who we had managed to not make our rival, and then when we condemned him for his sins, he became our rival again, which was unfortunate, but we roll with it and move on, primarily by doing our best to make sure it doesn't kill us. So very similar, really same event as last time, except this kid already has greedy, so the only options are callous and just. We'll just make him just. He would actually be more interesting as a stewardship character than a martial one, but we don't have that. Okay, so we're getting invited to a hunt. We talked before about playing on very hard difficulty. Activities are cheaper for the AI, so they tend to host more of them, which is good because it gives us something to do. And we definitely want to go to this hunt, especially because we have a decent amount of stress. Hopefully we can lose some of that here. So we have a temporary regent. Well, first we'll deal with this event. Let's say we know exactly where we are. Even if we get delayed, it's not a big deal. We did in fact find the correct path. Want to make sure our regent is focused on getting gold, which he already is. So we'll move on. Another child who is a daughter. Probably all the children we have. Indeed, we might even be one over the standard limit. This Duke of Bavaria's hunt. For this one, we don't really care about his success chance. Might as well lose a little bit of stress ourselves. Same thing here. Might as well lose some stress. Oh, this other Duke's hunt failed. Not terribly exciting. Looks like the scourge conqueror to our immediate east is fighting at someone with 0 troops. I'm not quite sure how that works. I assume this is some sort of mercenary. Yep, I mean, good luck, kid. So we got the adventurer trait, or sorry, the hunter trait, which if we advance that enough, we can get it up to give us some health bonuses. So this one, I talked about before, really want to play relatively conservative, and especially don't want to have Brasa Premsla die early. Because currently we would have one of our brothers take over as our heir, and he would be terrible, and we really want to wait instead till our sons come of age, 16, and pick the best one of them. Hopefully we'll have a 4-star education and go from there. So we will have someone else deal with this, or we'll just say run for our lives, and we'll take a little bit of a prestige hit and a few extra days to get back home. So someone is trying to kill me. I think we had predicted that because unfortunately we have a number of rivals. There's a question of getting a better spy master, which we should do. Probably annoy our count. He could be the one trying to kill us, for all I know. So we'll have the better spy master. We already are on redoubled guards. You see currently the chance of success is very low, but the maximum chance of success is disturbingly high, or it is 0 secrecy. So we're going to have to hope that we figure out the scheme and cause it to stop before it fires and someone tries to murder us. So this event, if you accept this one, then you lose guardianship of one of your sons. I mean, I guess it's one that we don't have guardianship of currently. Let's see here. This guy has decent traits. I mean, I guess we could do it. So hopefully, in case the 2 children that we're educating don't turn out to be great, maybe the one that the Blade Master Knight we just hired to train Vladislav here will turn out to be better. So we are starting to discover some of the agents. One of the agents is our food tester, who is supposed to protect us. Is not great. We'll let the traitor be known to all. That's enough to take him out of the scheme. We don't have to imprison him. That mercenary company with 0 soldiers is tying up the Scourge Conqueror to our east, which is a bit strange, but I'm sure he'll come for us sooner or later, or at least come for the HRE as a whole. Hopefully not our kingdom in particular. We have a bit more gold, so let's look at what buildings we can build. So our eldest son, 3-star education, not great, but not terrible. What is terrible is the selection of potential wives for him. I guess we'll take this one This quick woman, at least get some sort of intelligence trait bred into our dynasty. Okay, so now we get at any cost, which is a very valuable perk. Allows us to sell trivial titles and get quite a bit of gold for it. We will definitely be doing that. We can get even more gold for giving this person a hook. This person is just a baron, probably really can't do anything useful with a hook. If it was one of our vassals who had a county, that would be more concerning. Probably wouldn't do it. But here, happy to get the extra gold. So this is our learning focused character, who's somewhat okay. We will make him compassionate since it's a virtue. Makes vassals like him more. Increases his chances of becoming HRE if he becomes our heir. So all good stuff. Now I have plenty of gold. We want to spend that on upgrading more buildings. Again, generally looking at the highest gold producing buildings first. See that our monthly income is slowly increasing. So the Scourge Conqueror to our immediate east, his realm has split. He seems okay. So I guess this isn't that surprising. It's somewhat surprising. So obviously he is of an unreformed Slavic faith, and he conquered two big kingdoms that are both Catholic. And what almost certainly happened is that he had a rebellion of his Catholic subjects, and you see here Poland and Hungary broke away. Be interesting to see what he does now, if he tries to reconquer these lands they lost, or if he comes to the HRE instead. But he is still a Scourge Conqueror, still going to be around for a very long time. So I need to be cognizant of him. Again, if he does attack the HRE, it's almost certainly going to be that he goes after Germany as his first kingdom. I guess possibly Bavaria, but I think unlikely that he would come after us. Indeed, at the moment, he does not border our kingdom. And so we will just go back to laying low in terms of the international scene, and building up our buildings to try to increase our power, lay the groundwork for success later on. See that the Welsh conqueror has almost completely consolidated Britannia. I'm assuming once he does that, he's going to turn toward France, which will have absolutely no chance of withstanding him. So, and then once that happens, he's probably going to start looking at the HRE. Obviously not us, since we're on the east side. He's probably more likely to attack Lotharingia or Burgundy. Okay, so we have a grand tournament here. We'd already talked about how the AI on this level of very hard difficulty gets a big discount for activities, so they tend to hold more, and we are going to be happy to go to them. It's possible that we get money, get the hospital looter experience, recruit some useful knights or other courtiers. So all worth going to. There is always the risk that something very bad happens. So normally what I look for is the option to increase our score, but it's not available here. So really the question is, do we want to try to get some gold, or lose some stress, or I guess we could slightly increase our score. I think we try to get some gold here. We did. That's good. There's someone we could sponsor to build some furniture for 50 gold, so we can do that. Also want to build some more buildings. Look to see if there are buildings at level 1 that we can get up to level 2. Again, want to sort of build up the lowest level buildings first, since they give you the most bang for your buck. So again, sort of focused on increasing our likelihood of qualifying. It turns out we just may not qualify for this. Actually, that will probably do it. So the melee is pretty much always a coin flip. Hard to know if we'll win or not. Just sort of take whatever decisions look best, really, in terms of increasing our hostile looter experience. This one, 99% chance, score increases. Clearly the best option. Here, I don't want to spend money. I think we'll just take the option of trying to increase our score by rallying them without spending money. Here, just looking for the highest chance for that one, and we will go on to the results here. Which turn out to be, so we can make our personal position 2 to our friend. I guess might as well. We did not win. We'll proceed on to the next event, and I think we did get some good experience there, which is pretty much all I can ask for. Here we do have a decent amount of stress, so worthwhile to de-stress a bit. The other 2 options there aren't that great. Here, the option to see if we can get some renown, which again is very valuable. Didn't get it. Oh well. Try to increase our score again. One thing you learn from CK3 about history is that tournaments were full of excellent women knights who were dressed as men. And so we definitely want to get as many of those as we can. We'll get her married as well. Obviously don't want to marry her to a mayor. That would cause her to go to their court. Instead, we'll marry her to a high prowess character who is either a guest or courtier, which will cause them to come to our court. You can see she is quite good with a 20 prowess. Now that we have her, we could look into seeing what kind of knight she would make. Acclaimed knight. Didn't even realize we had. Okay, so we have this guy who. That guy? Yeah, I have no idea where this person came from. But we'll definitely make him a blade master. Also get him married. Guess we could have looked at our new knight. Be a valiant. Sure. The other option there, what we've been looking for, had been a vanguard, which would have increased the size of our some of our regiments. But I think the 2 acclaimed knights that we have are quite good, so we can go with those. Back to our tournament. So here, just don't want to get, it's just an enormous amount of stress. Obviously, don't want to get it. Rather lose and just bomb out, which we did, and get that much stress. Just click through the winners. which I guess my brother won. Yeah, Oda the Hamson. Okay. So the prizes weren't really all that good. We did get a little bit of experience. Hopefully we'll get more next time. Our character is relatively, well, he's middle-aged, so he's probably not going to do that great at some of these tournaments. Let's see here about building any more buildings. Zoom out, take a look at the world. So the Valedian Scourge Conqueror is going after Hungary again. Does seem to be trying to reassemble his prior realm before it rebelled on him. The Britannian, pretty originally Welsh Scourge Conqueror isn't attacking you at the moment. I guess there was a tournament there, but didn't have enough time to get to it. By far away. Again, good to go to the tournaments, but not a huge deal. So I think we'll probably just do the first one here because we get the lifestyle experience plus a little bit of gold. This one, long term increasing fuel taxes is better, but does cause an opinion loss. So I think we'll do the top one. Do in fact get avaricious, which is incredibly useful. Now we do have to think about a decision to make. Choice here really is either to stay in wealth focus and stewardship and go down the administrator tree, which is primarily useful for large realms where you have a lot of vassals. Almost all the perks here relate to pacifying your vassals, getting more levies from them, and so forth. It's really not till the last two that would be useful to us. The other obvious option is to go into the learning lifestyle. We could try either scholarship or medicine focus. Medicine to have Vratislav live a little bit longer. We could go down this tree, pick up some general skills, including some of the most important ones, or learn on the job, which increases all your skills. Scholar also useful in terms of development growth. You could also consider trying to go down the medicine tree, again to have him live longer. That might even be a better idea. Scientific also very useful. Try to increase the rate at which we discover new innovations, new technologies. I think let's change to learning and go medicine focused. Try to keep Vratislav healthy for as long as possible. We've been trying to sway our brother Archbishop, but we have largely failed. He's probably trying to murder us. All we can do is what we've already done in terms of having the courtiers in position, food taster, cupbearer, bodyguards, try to prevent our untimely demise. Here, I think we'll go with lessons to our steward, just because we are trying, as stated before, to get as much gold as possible to build more buildings. Here we now see that Britannia is going after France. Chances of Britannia winning basically 100%. So then we were going to have quite powerful Scourge Conqueror on the western edge of the Holy Roman Empire. So we did get not very helpful pedestal item, but might as well put it up. Same with this book, which we should have put up earlier. The development growth is quite nice. But anyway, so we've put up 2 more artifacts. A court event. If it did not cause a gigantic amount of stress, I'd almost certainly go with the first one. But since it does, let's lose some stress by taking the middle one. It's Anna, who won't be our heir, so less important than some of the other children. Speaking of which, is there any chance of... Okay, he's learning focus. He doesn't really need to be wrathful. Probably just, he'll go with the 3 personality traits he has. We'll have him study a language. This son is martial. I think the chances of making him diligent are way too low. Wrathful is a coin flip, so we can do that. Wrathful is good for military characters because it does give you a pretty good boost to your martial skill. Let's also look at what our youngest son... Okay, so very interesting here. Our youngest son, we can make have a stewardship focus. So it's quite possible, if we live long enough, we want him to be our heir. Because again, we probably aren't going to build all the buildings that we want in Vratislav Premsla's lifetime. So what we may want to do, probably wait a couple more years, maybe even until Boleslav here hits 16, and then we'll immediately want to have Vratislav become our ward, so we can train him in stewardship. We probably hold off on developing our capital since it would cause us to have a stress break. Indeed, given that, we may want to hold a feast depending on how expensive it would be. Not too bad, so I think let's go ahead and hold a feast so we can hopefully fully de-stress. And if we get sufficiently low stress during the feast, we can develop the capital, and then hopefully other events during the feast will remove the stress caused by develop capital decision. Again, looking to building some more buildings here. Largely prioritizing those that will give us the most gold, which are the windmills and watermills. They also give good development growth, all good stuff that gives us more money. So here again, we really don't want rivals, so we'll just try to become his friend instead. Here, had interesting conversation. You get a bonus 2 of your skills for 10 years. That's worth getting. It's sort of unfortunate, though it does give us a small health boost, which is useful. Here, we'll save him. Don't want to try to, again, don't want to have rivalries with people, since your rival is the one that try to murder you. Yeah. So, wasn't the greatest feast. Now we still have some stress. Kind of want to hold off on developing our capital until we have fully de-stressed. So our daughter died in childbirth, which is unfortunate. It does get the point about wanting to hold off on developing the capital, because if we had done that, we would then just have a stress break and probably some really bad event. So now we'll hope that some other vassal will hold some events so we can go to those and de-stress. So here the question is, whether we want to praise our brother and rival for his relentless courage. I don't really think he's particularly courageous. He probably won't receive it well, so we'll just keep it short and professional. Zooming out for a bit, we can see that Britannia has in fact taken over France, and Valedia has taken Hungary back, probably attacking Poland now. Oh no, who is attacking Poland? I guess Poland's being attacked by, okay, some tiny county in Prussia. So here is an event between my child and my brother. I don't want to have a rivalry with my brother. Oh, looks like my nephew was killed by my son, which is obviously unfortunate. Don't really want to let my brother imprison one of my kids, especially. I think we will just say that I promised I would discipline him, and hopefully our brother accepts that. Okay, we have another grand tournament to leave quickly. We will do here. Again, good to go to grand tournaments. If you win, you can get gold, renown, get hostile looter experience, which provides a variety of benefits. So all good stuff. Looks like my caravan master murdered someone. Really have to take this option to avoid stress. We'll take Uda as our new master, so this is a very unfortunate event. The only option we really have here is to sacrifice one of our bodyguards because chances of us dying from this first option are just way too high. So we lost a bodyguard. We will need to replace both our bodyguards actually, which we will do now with quite qualified people, and we'll continue on our way. So this option gives us both stress relief and also increases our score. We can't really ask for anything better, so that's what we will do. First one is a horse race. We'll avoid getting any stress from that decision. Again, we want to avoid stress, so we'll disqualify the cheating rider. We will try to take the option here that gives us at least a chance of increasing our score, even though we didn't. Here, just looking for the score with the highest, the option with the highest chance of success, which is this one. Didn't work, or I guess pretty much certain to fail. And we'll move on to the board game contest. Again, lots of female knights at these tournaments. They tend to be, excellent knights, so great to pick them up. One could argue that the event happens too frequently, but not really our concern. We'll just sweep up all the great knights that we can. Again, take the option here that increases our score, avoid getting any stress. Inspiration, how expensive? 300. Yeesh. Guess we'll take it. I mean, the hope here is that he will produce a book that really increases the speed at which we get learning lifestyle. One thing I should note is because we're a 5-star steward character, we also get some learning lifestyle experience. Pretty significant amount between, the amount that you get if you were between a 2 and 3-star learning character. And so that's one reason to go to the learning lifestyle and go up medicine, is we can do it relatively quickly, or at least faster than if we didn't have any bonuses to learning lifestyle experience. We're playing the board game. Again, really want to avoid stress, so we're going to have to go with the top option, which succeeded. Again, just looking for the highest percentage option here, which is the top one. And see our gold is slowly increasing. I think when we started, it was below, monthly gold was below 20. Now it's up to 33. We should keep increasing as we get more buildings. Again, take the option that does not give us stress. Looks like we'll be facing our liege in the finals. So this would greatly increase our score, but give us 54 stress. I just don't think it's worth it. Instead, we'll say we won't cheat. We'll go with the highest probability there, and we still won without cheating. So we did finally win a tournament event. Get the prize brooch, which is not very useful, but I guess better than nothing. You can also see we got 30 gold and a little bit of prestige. So for this, don't really have a preference between the first two. Letting him choose increases the quality of the book, so we always do that. For this, you can either get renown or piety. Renown is vastly harder to get than piety, so we will definitely get the renown. We will put our new prize brooch on the pedestal, get the slight benefits that it provides. Here, I think for learning, we go scientific first for the cultural fascination progress. Then after that, go up the medicine tree. The fascination is the one that gives us an extra building slot, still 25 years away. Just have to see what we can do there. So the Duke of Upper Lotharingia wants his daughter to marry our son. I think we will pass on that. We have plenty of allies, and ideally, we'd really want our sons to marry women that have the intelligence trait, some sort of intelligence trait, to have that bred into our dynasty, and eventually have all our characters be geniuses and get the strong-blooded trait. Extort our subjects again, which we will definitely do. You can see that we still have this Scourge Conqueror who started in Valetia up here, who now rules Hungary. He's not attacking anyone at the moment, which is mildly surprising. You can see that the Scourge Conqueror in Britannia actually decided to go south into Aragon instead of attacking the Holy Roman Empire. That's fine. More time, better. That we get before the HRE starts being torn apart by Scourge Conquerors. So this is the Extort Subjects event that we've had before. Again, given that we have relatively few vassals, we're allies with most of them. I think we can take the tyranny, take the legitimacy loss in exchange for the extra gold. And then we turn again to seeing, do we have any level 1 buildings that we want to upgrade? Yes, this windmill here is a good one. I guess we could have upgraded the mine there, but maybe we'll do that with the next round, or if we get sell trivial titles when it comes up again. So another tournament. It's relatively far away. I'm a bit concerned about the plague that's up there. If on the way back it will have spread down and we could catch some sort of serious disease that kills us. I think we'll pass on this one. Again, we want to stay alive as long as possible. Really don't want to lose Vrasov Prumslid before, especially before we've had one of our children become our co-monarch, which requires them to be an adult. Just looking at whether we could increase our crown authority, which is going to take another 10 years. Here's a hunt. Seems like the hunt's close by. Yes, so we'll go to that. we're waiting on the hunt, let's zoom out, look at the world map, see what's going on. We see Great Liao, led by a scourge conqueror, making inroads to the south, including taking a big chunk of the Chinese hegemony, as we noted earlier. Byzantines are currently intact. We'll see how long that lasts. So this event, normally it looks like the chances of us getting a higher quality book or higher than those of getting a lower quality book, and would argue in front of picking the selection, argue in favor of picking the selection. Problem is, it seems like at least 3/4 of the time I pick the selection, I get a lower quality book despite the odds here. So I usually just go with stick to their own duties instead of taking a risk of getting a worse book. Also, the person making the book is legendary. We already had one event that increased the quality of the book. I don't know how much more could be increased. So it seems like the downside is worse than the upside there. So this guy's hunt failed, not a big deal. We get at least a little bit of stress loss, 20, that's good. We lost our bodyguard, who we definitely want to replace, because chances are high that someone is trying to murder us. We go on. One other thing we could look at is getting a rural architect, even though they're not too expensive. So we do that, and we set them on public works to help increase the development in our capital, which is very useful since our capital is centrally located among our domain. Increasing the development of our capital will trickle down to all these other counties that surround us. Okay, nice purple book. Would have been probably even better if we could have gotten the plus 40% learning experience, but plus 20 is still good, so we'll definitely have it in our throne room. Look here at building some more buildings. I think everything is at least at level 2 now. Yep, and so start looking at building the level 3 windmills and water wheels. Okay, and this was the sun. Okay, good. The sun we talked about earlier, that as soon as he matured, we want to switch to getting our youngest son up to speed. What's good here, he ended up being a 4-star learning education. Again, can't argue with that. We don't have the buildings or anything to make him be a 5-star, so 4 stars is as good as it's going to get. We'll make sure we educate our youngest son, see if we make him diligent. I'm surprised the chance for that's so low, given that he's has the capacity for or has a preference for stewardship education, but whatever, hopefully we'll win the coin flip. And then we go back to our son who just matured and see if we can find a wife for him with some good genetic traits. The answer is not really. I guess this is probably the best option. One thing to note here is part of playing on the hardest difficulty levels is that we're playing with restricted diplomatic range. So that means that we're going to have fewer options for spouses than we normally would, which partly explains, I assume, the reason why we don't have more intelligent or even genius women. So we did succeed in making our youngest son diligent, which is good. It's just a huge stat boost. Because we have one of our acclaimed knights as a blade master, get the aspiring blade master trait. It gives us a nice some prowess, also resistance to disease, which is useful, and again they're playing with doomsday plagues. This is our daughter who has a child who is slow, unfortunately, which of course is the opposite of what we want. And she, even though she married someone who was intelligent, daughter ended up being slow. Just bad luck with the genetic draw there. Is a plague pretty close to our southeast. Hopefully it doesn't come up to us. Just instead stays along the Danube there. Okay, we can sell trivial titles. Want to do that because gold is good. So for this one, really don't care that much about losing 75 prestige. Rather have that than the opinion loss. So that's what we'll do. Zoom out here. And so it looks like the Scourge conqueror to our east, again, who is unreformed Slavic faith, conquered Hungary and Poland. Their peasants rebelled because they're Catholic. Then he successfully rebelled, so he was reduced up to here to Vledi again. He reconquered Hungary. They rebelled again. He lost it again. So sort of a back and forth with him. Fortunately, we're not as lucky with this Scourge conqueror who is getting up there, and he has Withering Mind. Interestingly, he is primarily focused on attacking to his south into Spain rather than attacking the Holy Roman Empire. I'm genuinely kind of surprised because he certainly has the troops to easily come into the Holy Roman Empire and take Lotharingia, which is quite valuable kingdom, instead of the much smaller kingdoms down in Spain. But always hard to know what the AI's thinking is. Let's take a check here about what other Scourge conquerors there are besides those two. The Cumans and Mordavinia now have Scourge conquerors. So here, looks like they're attacking each other. Yep. Those two could easily come west and threaten the Holy Roman Empire. They would have to go through this Scourge conqueror who has had difficulty controlling his Catholic subjects when he has them. So we'll just have to see how that goes. And from selling the titles, we have more gold, so we can build more buildings. And then proceed from there. Another grand tournament, but we won't arrive in time, so we'll just ignore it. Take a quick look at what our hostile looter experience looks like. We've got first rank in a few things. Nothing too useful. Frankly, would wish that we had some experience in bow, because at the end of bow, you can see you get a small health boost, which obviously helpful in helping Vratislav live a bit longer. Really want him to live as long as he can. Ideally, even have his youngest child come of age, hopefully with a 4-star stewardship education. And we can almost pick once Vratislav dies, then we can almost pick up right where he left off in terms of having a good building character who continue to build within the holdings of Bohemia, and again set us up for long-term success. One of our other sons, very good. He became a 4-star martial character. Should have, once I unpod, that should go to knight 17. Okay, pretty good martial. Again, we'll try to marry him to a character with intelligence trait, which is her. It's kind of the issue here is that we probably don't need a martial character, and that we really don't want to focus on fighting, just because of the concerns about we're not going to beat any Scourge conquerors at this point. And we're really better off sort of focusing inward and not really attacking other areas. I think we talked about at the very beginning of the prior episode, we do have now these press claims to Lausitz and Meissen, however they're pronounced, but there's not much point. And the Duke ruling them is surprisingly weak. And we could take, it looks like we could take the Duchy of Meissen, and then Lausitz is up here. So we could take them pretty easily, I think, if we wanted to. The problem is, even though the game is refuting me, I've said before that Scourge conquerors really like to attack Germany, which is where those duchies are, Lausanne, or what are they called? Meissen and Lausitz. And so I'm still concerned that if we were to try to attack those, a Scourge conqueror would instantly come into Germany, and then we'd lose them, and then we'd have just wasted time and money on conquering those two. So I still think better to hold those claims in our pocket, see what happens, how the map develops with the Scourge conquerors, and really just focus inward for now. Obviously, one of the big differences between playing like this on the hardest possible difficulty settings as compared to normal. In normal, if you wanted to, normally from the very beginning of the game, you can just start conquering left and right, willy-nilly. Here, it often just doesn't work that way. It's just not useful. It's very easy to overextend, get a bunch of vassals that hate you, want to overthrow you, and you're really better off early on growing quite slowly. Another granddaughter. As we get older, we get to poor health, we'll probably want to look at all of our descendants and try to marry them all off to people with good genetic traits. So there is a grand wedding, but it is very far away. Down in the heel of Italy, I think we will pass. Just check here on Duke Robert. He was 65, but he's robust, and so he's still in good, in decent health. What is it? Fine health. Yeah, not terribly interested in traveling that far to go to his grand wedding. And so now we will start going down the whole of body tree, medicine tree for learning, see if we can extend Bratislav's life for a bit. So we get people that want to increase our amenities again. It's probably worth looking at in a more systematic way and increasing everything to at least 2. I think that will also trigger one of the benefits from a higher grandeur, though it's not terribly useful for us. Have enough money to build some more buildings, or at least a building. And again, at this level, you really just want to be patient, take things slowly. Just sometimes it'll be sort of like the old aphorism about things happen slowly and then all at once. Here we just really want to build up, and then once we're powerful enough, then we can start looking into conquering other territories, making a big push to become HRE Emperor, whatever we want. See where this hunt is. Probably want some mountaineers. And it's true that at this level of difficulty on the hardest possible settings, the game sort of forces you to do that. If you're someone who is new to the game, playing on regular settings, it's also quite a good idea just to progress slowly. Don't try to absorb huge kingdoms with a bunch of vassals that you might not yet know how to manage. Take a duchy here, duchy there, make sure they're integrated, that the vassals are relatively happy, not itching to rebel against you, and just proceed that way. And then as you become more experienced, you'll be able to get a better idea of when you can attack some huge kingdom and take it over, and when you shouldn't be doing that. So a bit interesting that we get this event at someone else's hunt. I kind of think I want to try to go for the gold here. Good chance of success. We in fact got it. We should now have enough gold to build at least one other building, maybe two. Upgrade our windmills to 3. Again, have them, all these upgrades produce more gold, more development. All good things for what we're trying to do here. That was a successful hunt. Got a good bit of prestige from doing it. Also got some falconer experience, so all good stuff. Again, it's good that at this level of difficulty, playing on very hard, the AI holds more activities, gives us something to do here while we largely build up our realm. For this one, you can get some opinion with your courtiers. I tend to think it's not very useful. I'd rather have the stress relief, even though we're not too stressed out. Here, I usually like the first option, even though the chances aren't that great, kind of a coin flip, but obviously you get diplomacy experience, some experience in the seasoned tree of the traveler trait. Because we're wrathful, we do get this special option, have to fight each other, but I still think the top one is ideal, and we did in fact get it. Let's see, Poland is being conquered again by that scourge conqueror, keeps conquering and losing Catholic territories. Right, we have another son here. Okay, I think that was one we saw earlier. We'll marry him to the one woman with an intelligent trait that is available. I think that is all of our sons now, except for our youngest one. Again, the one who is currently on the stewardship-focused education. Don't think there's really anything we want to petition the Kaiser for, but might as well take a look. Nah. We could try to get him to build a city or temple, but he's probably going to want a hook or something, so I think it's not worth it. So this is Robert the Fox of Sicily, fighting against his coronation after the grand wedding. Again, I think it's just too far away. Don't really want to travel that far. Britannia. I mean, this guy is really going to town in Spain. Yeah, I am quite surprised, genuinely, that he has not gone for Germany in the HRE. Certainly, Kaiser Heinrich would not be able to resist him, but really, I'm glad that he has it. I think it helps us. Because states or kingdoms like Germany provide a buffer for us. A great conqueror, a scourge conqueror, is almost certainly going to get those before they come to us, and so the longer that buffer exists, the better for us. Obviously, we don't want to convert, just create problems with all our vassals and peasants. So we will just acknowledge that iconoclasm has appeared. The Hungarians can deal with it. Grandson, our friend Jan died. That's very unfortunate. Kind of surprised he was not. Yeah, I guess he just did not. Okay, we're missing a wet nurse. Fix that. Yep, she's still instilling virtue. Tutor still educating our children. And then we still have the other positions that we want. Now over 40 gold a month, which of course is quite good. Having more grandchildren here. I see we finally got our Archbishop brother to have a positive opinion of us, which is good, but he probably still is our rival and trying to murder us, which of course is not good. Build some more buildings here. you can see the Scourge Conqueror to our east has formed Empire of West Slavia. He is currently fighting a war. His vassals are fighting against him in a tyranny war. So Kaiser Heinrich is holding a grand tournament. We have plenty of time to get there. It's not too far away. I think we'll go to this grand tournament. When we get back, we will, call this episode. And again, I'll acknowledge that in a certain sense, this hasn't been the most thrilling episode. Didn't have any big conquest. Either way, we didn't get conquered. Thankfully, we didn't go out and conquer a whole bunch. But really, I think this is the best way to play at this very high level, a very difficult level, I should say, where you progress slowly, really build up your realm before you start trying to attack other people, and also you really have to just wait and see how the Scourge Conquerors reshape the map. Because in this sort of game, the highest difficulty, you're simply not in control of your own destiny. You really have to see what those Scourge Conquerors do and then figure out how you want to react to them. So unfortunately, just as we get to Kaiser Heinrich's Grand Tournament, he cancels it. Guess he is allied. Oh, okay. Wow, so smart move by Kaiser Heinrich. I had been criticizing him. So I'd asked a few times now, why had Britannia not attacked the Holy Roman Empire to take Germany? And now we have the answer. The answer is that he has an alliance with Kaiser Heinrich. And while Scourge Conquerors are very powerful, they will follow the rules of war in CK3, which is, they'll never attack people they're allied to. They'll never attack tributaries. They will also always respect truces, which typically last for 5 years. I've never seen a Scourge Conqueror break a truce or break an alliance or break off a tributary relationship. So Kaiser Heinrich, either he or maybe he just got lucky and the Emperor of Britannia offered him an alliance, but either way, because there's an alliance between Britannia and the Holy Roman Empire, that is why Britannia has focused on going south into Spain. And for us, though, that means that Kaiser Heinrich has canceled the grand tournament to go focus on helping his ally. So we'll try to find our wayward courtier. This is our son, who is stewardship focused. Fortunately, looks like one of our great female knights went to Kaiser Heinrich. It's kind of unfortunate, but again, we don't plan on doing any warfare at the moment, so didn't really need her. So then we have our stewardship focused son here, who gets events that are largely for martial characters. Particularly the first two traits, zealous and brave, both very good for martial characters. Not terribly useful for stewardship focused characters. I would normally prefer for him to be brave, because you get benefits to both martial prowess, attraction opinion, glory hound vassal opinion. Also, if he does have to fight, get some benefits there. But I just don't know whether I want to absorb the stress to make him brave rather than zealous. I guess I'm concerned that if he's zealous and we have to do something where he becomes a tributary or vassal of this Scourge Conqueror, who is currently of a Slavic faith, that can interfere with them. So I think we'll take the risk of making him brave, and then we will immediately host a feast so we can de-stress. Or maybe we'll get a good event and de-stress immediately. Will we have a mental break? We will not. So that was lucky. Okay, we get another positive event. We get gold and renown. That's definitely good stuff. We talked earlier about always like to go down the blood tree to improve the genetics of our dynasty. We'll go one more here, and very likely go down warfare tree. But we may have to think about that for a little while. See if there's anything I really want to handle. I think so. Let's see about our son, if we can give him personality trait. Wrathful, really don't want to give him, even though he apparently will eagerly accept Wrathful. I think we'll wait, take our feast, and then let him get a personality trait on his own and think about whether we want to give him just, which is useful for stewardship characters, since I think it's a +2 stewardship. Okay, that will be it for this episode. Again, thanks very much for watching.